The search for me is one of the fun parts of the year. I get out with a couple of friends looking for remote spots with completely new waves, often unnamed, and the adventure of finding them, the adventure of finding new cultures that I am not known to yet, also is one of the interesting parts about it.
It's about a journey of discovery. I think it's not only discovering new places to windsurf and surf, it's discovering the new people as well as discovering yourself and who you are and where you fit into the big picture.
Absolutely, the whole point of this trip and the trips that we do is to find the best possible wave riding, and we all push each other because we're all focused on that being the higher level of the sport. This is the kind of thing I'll be doing if I'm sitting behind a desk and I get 2 weeks vacation. I'm going to come do this exact same thing, and hopefully with the same group of guys, and that's why it's such an enjoyable thing, and we do it for the love of it, not for anything else.
The search is very soul windsurfing, you know, because you go in some place where there's nobody before they went, and it's very exotic place and unbelievable, a beautiful place, and you know it's very nice to surf and windsurf over there. It's like an adventure for us, and the search is very, very powerful dream for everyone.
You know, just get away from everything and focus on 100% hardcore wave sailing. You know, just waiting for the conditions and riding hard with your friends and having a good time. And for me, that's what windsurfing is all about now. It's about just the rush of free sailing without the stress of competition, and really just that pure aspect of windsurfing, which is why I do it in the first place.
Welcome to Hawaii. this is the most beautiful places in the world for windsurf, surf and kite and everything. Over there is Jaws. You know, the place is like the most powerful waves in the world, I think. And when you ride these kind of waves, your heart is gonna be like bam, 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 bumping a lot, man. Cool.
And every time you go your way, there's nothing more someone could say, even if they think you're not right. And every time you go your way, there's nothing more someone could say. And first of all, it's nice to know there's always someone that you show to be proud of and be your own. And all the things that you can see, there's always more that you can be, and every time you go your way, there's nothing more someone could say. Although they try to put you down and go on twisting you around, just be faithful to yourself. It might get dark, it might get long, now it's time to just go on. Something for you that makes you strong. And when the morning starts to dawn, you just fall onto the lawn, eyes wide open, your dream comes true. It might get dark, it might get long, now it's time to just go on. And when the morning starts to dawn, you just fall onto the lawn. Presents in trouble double, his brain is just not in sync, his mind is rubble.
It all depends on the day. Today is nice and calm, but when it really gets going and the waves get big and the wind gets strong, you really gotta respect it because it's definitely stronger than you. And that's one of the thrills and the feel about it, is that you can never control it. You can only try to appreciate it, have fun, and get into the dangerous zone and stay on the edge, but don't cross it because it will get you.
Of all the things that you can see, there's always more that you can be. Of all the things that you can see, there's always more that you can be. Don't you know that's what I believe?
At the moment we're here on Maui, kind of waiting for the right conditions to hit. We've been talking about going to Molokai for quite a few years already. The reason we haven't gone yet is because it's really difficult to get there. Need a special permission to go to the point of Kalapapa. And finally it's all come together. We got the boat, everyone is here, and we're ready to go.
Piece by piece, wall by wall, push yourself against them all. You don't wanna be like anyone else. Lick your lips and learn to smile, and you will find that it's all worthwhile. Push and shove, we run the game, we turn the clocks, and it's all the same. No, you don't want to be like anyone.
The idea of going to Molokai right now is to go do something different, get off the beaten path, try something new, and to go somewhere that's kind of pristine and untouched by humans. You know, go where people haven't gone before. You know, of course some people have gone there, but it's not going to be crowded. It's going to be one of those rare places that you feel privileged to go, not where you're just one of a million that's been there. And you know, we have the means to do it now, and I think that's the important part of this trip, just to get away and get out there and see something new.
Find a place and dream a book. You can do anything, just be understood. Find the warmth and touch the flame. Then you can say, I found my own game. far can we take this around? We're roving for a higher ground. Well, how far? Oh, how far?
In the old days, when they would bring new patients here to stay, if it was too rough for the boat to pull up towards land, they would basically throw them overboard and have them swim to shore. This was their welcome to Kalapapa. So it's a very difficult, very tough place to get to. And today coming here, you also have that sense of something special because it is so isolated. People don't come here, they really can't come here very easily. Small boats have a hard time to get here. So it is an isolated, remote, special place.
Well, I wake up, the energy is running through my veins. Don't try and comprehend, all seems insane. Just breathe in difference, never lose faith. Rise up into the mist, slowly take our taste of this place. I love this place. So I speak up to free my mind and tell me what you feel. Set the butterflies on a compromise. Can you tell what's real? The whole world spinning around, maybe out of control. But in your circle, there is nothing but soul.
It's actually very unique that we were even allowed to come and shoot here. It is a very protected place. They like their privacy. They're letting the patients that still live here live out their lives in their environment as they've always had it. So there's very few tourists. They come on donkey down the cliff. It's very restricted. You can't just come here and do whatever you want. So we're lucky they said, okay, we're allowed to come and bring the boat and sail and film, and it's special.
Well, the best part of it now is people are more open-minded than they used to be. Now it's a beautiful spot. Many people come to visit. But it is a very special place in Hawaii's history. It's still a restricted area. We still have the feeling of the loneliness that these older people used to have before, where they're banished, they were by their own government, their own families turned away from them. It is a special place for many, many reasons. I think of the suffering and all that went on through here, misunderstanding, the fear, lack of knowledge. And they had our own people kind of brainwashed over the years. Our own families and relatives would have nothing to do with many of us. The isolation was bad enough. Something unknown in Hawaii. Hawaiians always like to have company, always be in groups if possible. Many families are made to feel ashamed. This one with the plastic flowers is my auntie. She was here the longest time, 77 years. There were more gravestones in here too, but the 46 tidal wave came through and hit here. They took some gravestones back there. They took some gravestones out to the ocean. The churches were very, very important. This is all they had. They're banished by their government. Their families turned away from them in shame and fear. They were all Christian. That's the only thing that kept them together. That boat looks great out there. And we enjoy the company, so thanks for coming. Like a Hawaiian saying, aloha. And adios. The old Hawaiian cowboys used to say, adios ki aloha. Go with God, go with friendship.
But our words don't mean the same. We're lost inside our false beliefs. The misunderstandings are going to increase. Seems like you started right and I started half became a cross.
It's definitely got a very strong and heavy history, and it's actually a pleasure to come here and be able to see that and experience a little bit of the feeling and feel good about oneself and be really appreciative that oneself is intact, and see how other people have had a really rough and scrubby life, and it's good to see the fire in their eyes and see how strong they really are.
little bit gusty, but once you get on a wave, you've got unreal power, a lot of power in the sail, and super smooth faces to ride. I think everybody's got some really good waves. The inside is a little sketchy with all the rocks, which I found several times this morning. But you know, as a sailing spot, it's really different than anywhere else we've got in Hawaii.
Just magnificently beautiful here. The impressive cliff dropping down to the ocean, and the most perfect wave that I've seen in a long time. Just a perfect barrel.
If you look at the scenery, there's nowhere else like in the world. I'm not a spiritual person at all. I'm very shallow, but I've got to say this is a place that you can feel. It's got something to it that just other places don't. There's just nowhere like it in the world.
Oh, we're definitely coming back. I want to try this place on a macking 8 to 10 foot swell. It'd be sick.
that you can see, there's always more that you can be. Of all the things that you can see, there's always more that you can be. Don't you know that's what I believe? And every time you go your way, there's nothing more someone could say, even if they think you're not right. And every time you go your way, there's nothing more someone could say. There's nothing more someone could say. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough.
Well, those life challenges, limits of anything, big wave sailing, contest sailing, and now at the moment I'm trying to challenge this yellow page 46.5 knots record that's been standing for quite a few years already. The challenge is definitely being out there, challenge the limits of my own skills, and it's going to be difficult. We need the right conditions. My equipment is tip top, I'm tip top, so as soon as the conditions are there, the record is going to fall.
They'll try to put you down and go on twisting you around. Just be faithful to yourself. It might be dark, it might be alone. Now it's time to just go on. Something for you that makes you strong. And when the morning starts to dawn, you just fall onto the lawn. Eyes wide open, your dream comes true. It might be dark, it might be alone. Now it's time to just go on. And when the morning starts to dawn, you just fall onto the lawn. Present's in trouble double. His brain is just not in peak. His mind is rubble double because everyone is his.
I mean, the whole neat thing about going fast on a windsurfer is the sensation of speed is a lot more than what the actual speed is. To get this sensation in a car, you've got to go 200 Ks, 230 Ks, 240 Ks, which is clearly a lot more dangerous than falling on a windsurfer at 40 knots. So, I mean, that's the real enjoyment of it, is the fact that it feels so much faster than it has. The visceral sensation is that they're going a gazillion miles an hour. And when you fall down, the water's pretty hard.
One fin less. Well, I guess it was too thin. Just didn't last.
Got to be more gentle with your equipment.
Yeah. Good thing I didn't hurt myself.
It's quite clear that when we're talking about goal here, all people involved in this challenge, the goal is to break the speed record. And to do so, it's a combination of tuning your gear and getting everything sorted out and then getting the lucky run through, right?
You know, for me, it's twofold. It's an aspect of windsurfing that I've never done, so that's a challenge. You know, doing something new after 25 years in a sport, more than that actually, is cool. And I think it's an area that will help windsurfing to grow. It's very tangible, everybody can relate to speed. And I think with the advancements in equipment, the 50 knot barrier is within reach. You know, maybe not for me personally, but definitely for windsurfing. And on a second fold, it's just fun. You know, I'm trying to do new challenges in the sport. I've been going off and doing trips with Bjorn and, you know, enjoying aspects of windsurfing that I wasn't able to do before because I was so intensely into competition and really couldn't justify going off into different directions because I was so focused on the World Cup. Now that I'm not competing, I can kind of do anything, and this is something new and exciting.
The fastest little guy in the world right now.
Feels good to go fast, and I want to go faster.
If we start by Bjorn, we know Bjorn was really fast. He was one of the fastest guys in the world for like almost 10 years. And so I think he's got a lot of capability to do this record.
Antoine is the bull. He's the kind of guy who will just never stop. He will just keep going and going. He's one of those energizer bunnies, you know, and he's still going.
Anders is almost the same than Bjorn because he was always doing just behind Bjorn for like more than 10 years.
Bjorn, amazing. He's still as keen on windsurfing as he was back in the late 80s when we started racing against each other. And, you know, it's obviously a force to be reckoned with. He's 33 times world champion. He's been lucky a lot, all right? Really, we've been spinning out all over the show, you don't believe.
Robby is coming, and he was also fast. He's not the same size than us. He's a little bit smaller, so we'll see what can he do, what can do. But I'm sure he can go fast also. And if I speak about me, I'm going fast also. I was fighting with Bjorn and Anders many years in the World Cup, so I think I can go fast also and break this record.
I think if a windsurfer can get the outright record, especially if it can break 50 knots, it would be really important for the sport. There's a lot of challengers right now around the world with a lot of varying sailing vessels that are after the same goal, and it'll be interesting in the next year or so to see who succeeds and succeeds at what level. I think the thing that people need to understand is going 45, 50 knots on the water is really, really difficult when you're being powered by just the wind, and there's a lot of variables involved that you need to deal with. Water is very sticky stuff when you get going fast, and it really grabs on. And so we need one, super flat water, and we need two very strong winds, and controlling those two elements within the realm that's going to allow us to go really fast is hard. And the main thing is the chop blocker, which is working. You know, it was a concept that's never been tried. Clearly it works. It's just a matter of getting it to stay in place so that we've got basically 500-600 meters of dead flat water on the right angle of attack.
No, the record hasn't happened yet. We have had plenty of wind. Actually, I had wind every day, so a lot of sailing, a lot of practice, a lot of testing. And we found out that the water conditions is pretty much the most important thing, especially in high winds. I mean, we gone 41.9 knots on the 500 meter course on a 5.8 with a big board, on a 5.4 on a smaller board with more wind, and a 5.0 as well, in even more wind with a smaller board even. And why don't we go faster with the more wind? Which is a logical thing. The answer is really the water gets rougher and rougher as the wind gets stronger. So what we're gaining in horsepower, we're losing in control and can't really go as quick as we want to. And with our chop killer installed, halfway on the course, we have been going a lot quicker in the leeward side of the chop killer. And as soon as we get that thing under control for the 500 meter course, we'll be going a lot quicker than we have in the past weeks. But obviously that thing is not so easy to anchor, because the ocean has its own will and its own power, and Neptune is not happy that we're putting something in his backyard. But looks like we're going to get it together for this afternoon or maybe for tomorrow. And as soon as that happens, we're going to have smooth water through the whole 500 meters, and that's going to make the biggest difference. The waves we get down here in Cape Verde and Sal are generated by big storms in the middle of the Atlantic. Often hurricanes that go to Florida and the east coast of the US bring the best swells over here on the islands. So whenever there's a big low pressure, it's time to go down here, and then you get really beautiful and perfect waves. The wind is generated by constant high pressures on the Azore Islands, and those are called the northeast trade winds. And as long as there's a solid high pressure, then you get plenty of wind down here. And that's one of the main reasons why there's so many sailors from Europe that come by the Canaries first, after they go to the Cape Verde, wait for a nice and steady high pressure, and then they go across the Atlantic. So it's a very famous route for sailors. One of the great things about Sal is that you really have a lot of space where there's no one around. You can find very virgin nature, wild nature, quite a bit of desert, and a very wild ocean. And I think that's one of the things I discovered is, and one of the main reasons why I come here to the island of Sal.
If you want to talk about the surf conditions here, if we're talking about like surfing, I would say it's world class, perfect firing, epic point breaks when it's good, reef breaks, sandbars as well. Windsurfing, it's just pretty much the heaviest of the heaviest. Certain spots are, and we also have some user-friendly intermediate. It's just a big playground, you know. It's a big playground because it's in a small, tiny area that we have all these different wind directions, wave directions, swell size, swell conditions, and we have really, really awesome, mind-blowing conditions. It's great. We're basically just scratching the surface on big wave riding here in Cabo Verde. The biggest, heaviest spot on this island is Coral Jewel by far. Last year we kind of just touched the surface on about a 12-foot day. Super heavy. That wave reminds me of any of the heaviest waves in Hawaii. At 18 feet, I've seen it break 18 to 20 feet. It's comparable to Piahi or Jaws in Maui, and I think even heavier because it's longer, but it's got as much punch. I haven't seen it bigger than 20 feet, but that place at 20 feet, it's a spiraling big barrel for 300 yards. So we'll be working on it. We're working on the whole jet skis and the whole deal, little by little.
Sex and lies, they go hand in hand. Use each other for our skin. We laugh and I pretend that's what I can. Forgive me, Father, I live in sin. All I ever want, you're all I ever needed. You've taken me for granted. Now I'm cold and I'm tainted. Thrown it all away. Don't know how much I can take before I break. Give it all away. Don't know how much I can take before I break. You wanna see me break.
One of the main reasons I came here searching for empty waves and even unknown waves is there are so many islands and they are actually really difficult to travel on because there's hardly any roads anywhere. There sure hasn't been a whole lot of people around except for a few local fishermen now and then. You hardly don't meet anyone anywhere. So it's a great peaceful place.
Well, you know, Hawaii's definitely got a lot of good conditions. It's got a lot of crowds and not a whole lot of point breaks. And when I first came here in '96, I was really surprised at how good it was. And I think that looking at it now, there's all the reason to fly halfway across the world to this place. It's really special. It's one of a kind. And I'll be coming back.